everyone. Fantastic. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Some context that I have about you, I'll introduce myself in just a second. I'll start screen sharing, but just before we go formal presentation mode, I know you folks come from all sorts of different backgrounds. The talk today is going to be geared towards not super technical folks. So if you're I'm originally I come from a technical background. I've been coding since I was like 8. Don't be intimidated at all. You don't need to know how to code. You don't need to be very technical at all to actually leverage AI nowadays. So the intention behind this talk today is just to give you context on how some buzzwords that are being thrown around, how they're used and what they mean, and also some practical skills with a new feature called Skills, funny enough, by a company called Anthropic that makes the chatbot Claude, which some of you may use. So I'll go ahead and screen share, and it would be helpful, Lee, if you could unmute and just confirm that you can see my screen, since I'm just on one monitor. I'm not sure how much of you guys I'll be able to see. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And then let me go ahead and play. Can still see it? Okay, full screen?
Yeah.
All right, lovely. So I'm going to be talking today about a very...
Have a great day. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, what was that? So I'm gonna talk today about how I replaced 20 employees with Agentic AI. And there is a sort of in parentheses here because I didn't really have 20 employees and then fire them and then replace them with AI. I'll talk about what I mean behind this in a second. It's a good hook, but as I'll talk about in just a brief moment, you can't really truly replace humans completely yet with AI, but we'll talk about what we can do. So I'll jump into an introduction in just a second, but I want to start with a quick admission. And so this talk was originally prepared for a group called Data.il, which works in collaboration with the Israeli government. And the organizer originally, after I said yes to giving this talk, she was like, amazing. I'm gonna send you, this is in Hebrew, but it says, I'm gonna send you some content for distribution on socials. And I said, amazing. And I posted said content on LinkedIn, and it got some good engagement about the talk I was gonna give. But the only thing is the talk didn't exist yet. Only the LinkedIn post did. But I figured it's a talk about AI. Why don't I just take the content of that LinkedIn post and I'll tell AI, based off of everything you know about me, Yuval, and my startup, Glitter AI, go ahead and write this talk for me. And it was lovely. It gave me the outline for the slides and the content. The only problem with that, is that it sucked. And so unfortunately, you can't do everything with AI. I ended up writing and creating the content for today's talk manually. It cannot automate everything for you yet, but if you know how to ask it, it can do a lot for you. And so today we'll be talking about how to ask AI to do useful work for you. And so a little bit about me. Previously, I was the CEO of a company called Simpo. Raised a bunch of money from investors. We were 21 employees, and it was acquired in 2021. Today, I'm doing things quite a bit differently. So I'm the solo founder and CEO of a one-person show called Glitter AI. It's a one-person startup. It raised $0 by choice from investors, and more importantly, it has 0 employees. And so I do all the work. And so it begs the question how to do this. But before I jump into that, I want to give you a really brief overview about what Glitter AI does. It's software that can watch you do any work, and then it takes what you do, the clicks and process that you do on a computer, and it turns it into written step-by-step documentation completely automatically. So if you want to teach a colleague or AI how to do certain tasks in your work, you can go ahead and carry them out, and Glitter watches you work and will write that document for you. And so Glitter is used by thousands of companies, and it's a real product in production, which begs the question, how do you handle something like this solo? You folks at Wix may know that this is possible nowadays. Wix bought Base 44, which was also a one-man show by Mo Shlomo. It is possible to do, but the question is how. My advice, quick disclaimer before I answer the question how to do it all solo, is that if you are going to start a startup or a project at work, it's much more fun to work in a team. I wouldn't do it alone if I were to start all over today. But if you choose to ignore my advice, then you have to answer the question, how do you do the work of 20 people as one person? And the answer to that question is the topic of the first part of today's talk, which is agentic AI. Now, here's the thing. This is a term that's thrown around a lot. I'm going to create an agent. It's agentic AI. It's what is an agent? What is that thing? So it turns out that people have a million different definitions for what agentic AI is. And the one that I like the best is just AI systems that do work on their own with little supervision from you. So if before you had to do every single part of the work, now it could just ping you for the most important things and grab information from you. So AI systems that act autonomously and the supervision by you is limited. And so this there may be a question that you're asking yourself, which is, how do I technically build a full-blown production-ready AI agent? And the answer to that question, I'll answer in one slide, is it's beyond the scope of today's talk, unfortunately. But I will say this. I will show you how to teach AI parts of your job today in the second part of the presentation with a new feature called Claude Agent Skills later. Also, if you are interested in knowing how to create a production-ready AI agent that really does work for you, for example, a customer support agent that's able to proactively answer questions and ask a user for feedback, I wrote a whole blog post about it. It has screenshots, it has the prompts, it has the instructions. You guys can, point your phone at this QR code or we'll distribute the slides later if you do want to read about it. Just as a quick sentence about how to create AI agents at a high level, you can custom code them, which we're not going to do, or you can use visual tools nowadays like make.com, N8N, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, just released something called Agent Builder. There are visual ways to create agents. It's just too long to go into on this talk. So how do you do the work of 20 people with agentic AI? I feel like I've been teasing it for a while. Let's talk about what it is that we need to do. So to answer that question, we need to figure out first, what is it that we want our agents to do? And to answer that, we need to figure out what does a team, or within the context of something like Wix, what does a startup actually need? There are many different roles. There are product roles that are responsible for talking to customers and figuring out what features need to be built, etc. Marketing to actually create awareness and demand for those features, engineering to build them, sales to sell them, and customer support to actually answer customer questions, as well as proactively reach out to customers with customer success. So today, we will be focusing on two of these roles because we don't have lots of time. We'll be focusing on two hats that I wear at Glitter AI. One is the product hat, and the other one is the customer support sombrero. And while ChatGPT did not manage to create the content for today's talk, it did create the hats. And so kudos to ChatGPT for creating all the hats in this slideshow. So let's go through both the product manager's perspective and the customer support perspective. The first question that I want to answer as a product manager is, what should I build next? And to answer that question, I need to look at thousands of data points, and then to take those thousands of data points and come up with some sort of insight, which is, here's the feature that we need to build next. For Glitter, for example, converting an existing video or an existing screen recording or Zoom meeting into a step-by-step guide without having to do anything. It's a feature request, right? How do I know what to build next? From a customer support perspective, I want the AI to help me answer customers 20 times faster. But really, really importantly, I do not want it to answer on my behalf. I know there are lots of AI automation systems that answer completely without human involvement. My entrepreneurial philosophy is that the best asset for a company is the customer. And so I never want to completely remove myself from the conversation, but I also don't want to sit there and type something for 10 minutes that AI can type in a few seconds and I can just approve or ask for quick revisions to. And so help me answer this 20 times faster. So we have the product hat, we have the customer support hat. How do we automate them? And so let's look at the flow. First of all, in from let's say a customer sends a chat message to customer support asking a question, for example, what is Glitter AI? What I want the AI to do is to ping me, could be over Slack or something, and suggest a response based off of an existing knowledge base. And then I want to be able to give it feedback, either say, yeah, sure, send it, it's good, or I want to tell it, that's really good, but at the end, also ask them if they've tried other tools, maybe other competitors to Glitter AI. This is how I can extract insights from customers through conversation. And so I want the AI to then take that feedback, integrate it into the response, and then eventually it could just go like, yeah, sure, good, send that. And so how does this work? How can AI pull on existing knowledge, modify the response, do all of that stuff? Great question. Um, Three different pieces in that process, and they sound kind of complex, but when you look at them in practice, they're very simple. The first one we want to do is we want to collect data, which is all the interactions that we have with customers, turn that data into some useful insights, and then use those insights to take action, maybe draft a response to the customer, or in the case of a product manager, tell me which feature to build. So let's drill down into those. First one, collect data. So at Glitter, I get customer interactions happening on multiple channels. It could be inside of the app itself in Intercom. It's an in-app chat where people can talk to me and I answer. It could be through support emails, people emailing the support@glitter.io, or for the Israeli crowd, sometimes I even get WhatsApp messages directly from people asking me questions. In addition to this, I proactively ask people for feedback. So if you sign up for Glitter AI, you're going to see a very awkward video of me saying, welcome to Glitter AI, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to answer anything, drop any feedback or questions as they come up. And if you don't use the product, then I'm very annoying about it. And I'm going to send you emails and ask you what happened that made you not use the product. Why not? With puppy eyes. And of course, people do reach out with things that are sometimes questions that masquerade as either feedback, feature requests, or bugs. And so that could be, can we input in your application a recorded video and turn that into a step-by-step guide? So that's a question, but really it is a feature request because it doesn't exist. Or how long should it take for my recording to be transcribed? I've been waiting for 15 minutes. Oops, that's a bug. There was an issue with the system. It needs to be fixed. I need the AI to help me triage that and calibrate and answer the customers quickly. And so to do that, the second thing I need to do is to extract insights. I have these long conversations with customers, but really what I want is just the insights from them, and then I want to take action on those. And so from a product manager's perspective, I want to basically turn a conversation like this, which I'll translate in a second, it's written in Hebrew on the screen, and turn that into insights. So this conversation says, hey, can I upload an existing video and have that create a step-by-step guide out of that? I don't like that it doesn't record the original video. And then I said, actually, yeah, I'm working on this feature. Funny you ask, do you want to be a beta tester? By the way, where is the video sourced from? And the person says, well, I use Zoom to actually record my procedures in the company. And so I want to feed that conversation into an agent, which is basically going to be a series of prompts that's going to make decisions. A prompt is just a piece of text with instructions. And so I tell it, you're an expert product manager extracting information from a conversation between admin and a user. Use your best judgment and tell me, is this a use case, a feature request, or a bug? And I give it some examples, which is really important when you're writing prompts for AI systems to give it examples. And then that comes back with basically a classification. It says this is going to be a feature request, generate a guide from an uploaded video, and this is out of the same conversation going to be a use case to turn Zoom recordings into guides. And then my system is then going to look at all of this structured data and then just prioritize for me. Okay, you want to convert an existing video to a guide. That's a feature request from a customer, and it's going to prioritize for me because at the top because a lot of people have been asking for that. And then eventually I take action on that. The third step, I take that feature request and I build it. And today this is a real feature in the product that came from customers. So conversations happened unstructured. I can't remember all of them, but AI looked at those, extract data, and told me you should build this feature. And then I did. So that's the role of a product manager at a company. From a customer support perspective, I wanted to actually take proactive action in real time. I wanted to help me answer the questions. Briefly talked about that earlier, but let's look at what that looks like. So same conversation. Can I upload an existing video? Have that turned into a guide, blah, blah. You can become a beta tester, almost ready. I want the customer support prompt to look differently. I wanted to say, you're an expert technical writer and you excel at extracting FAQs. Maya, I think this is maybe similar to something that you created where when you created your knowledge base agent. I want you to extract from conversations, FAQs, identify the questions, identify the answers, and then I have a working knowledge base that's constantly updating based off of conversations that has questions and answers. That we can use to answer customers in real time, and it's always updating based off of the answers I give it. And then I wanted to extract that FAQ. Can I upload my own video to generate a guide? And the answer is, we're working on that. You can become a beta tester. And that becomes part of my FAQ document that I can pull from. And then I can add that to the AI's knowledge base. Next, what happens is now I have that knowledge base on the side based off of all existing conversations. What happens when a user sends a real message? Well, on Intercom, the in-app chat, a user says, how do I create a guide? And then the AI system looks at that doc that I had from before, and it says, here's a suggested answer based off of the question. I pulled even the download URL for the app, and it says, you have to download an app in order to create a glitter guide. But I want to be able to step in, now there's new information, and tell it, I reply to the AI over Slack, and I say, tell the customer about the new video to guide feature that exists. And so it goes and looks at it, it analyzes the feedback, and then behind the scenes, what it does is it decides what to do. It can either modify an existing response, it can look up information in that knowledge base that we created earlier from all of the existing conversations. It can ask for a clarification if I say something like blah, 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 and it doesn't know what to do with that. Or if I tell it, yeah, sure, send a response, it can send a response. So something really, really critically important behind how agents work is there's always what's called a router. Don't let the name intimidate you. It's basically like the information desk at a museum. You go in and you tell them you want to use the bathroom, they'll direct you to the bathroom. You want to tell them that you want to see the Picassos, they'll tell you they don't have them, but you can see something else. That router is gonna decide on which prompt to feed the information that you give it into. And behind the scenes, what you build visually with tools like make.com or N8N or the agent builder from ChatGPT is basically a master prompt, the information desk, and then it feeds into different parts of the other prompts in the AI that can then do useful work and then send it back to you over Slack or any other channel, or ping Intercom to send a message back to the customer. So again, I'm not going into the technical details of it, but I want you to understand how it's built behind the scenes. So what it looks like in practice is on Slack, we have this message. And then when I say, yeah, send it, then it goes ahead and sends it over Intercom to the customer. And then what happens is that in the in-app chat, what the customer actually sees is a fully written out response that took me as the human being 10 seconds to actually review and modify. So all I wrote to the AI was this sentence and these 3 words, and I have a fully written out response where the AI actually helped me draft that. And so this is the last slide for this part of the conversation of the talk. I'll pause right there, and then I want to show you Claude skills. Does anybody have any questions about this part of it? And then we'll move on to part 2, which is practical and what you can use today. It's going to only take a few minutes.
Do you ever get out of the self constant need to revise and edit, like you're constantly giving it feedback? Does it ever get to the point where it can learn on its own?
It is constantly learning on its own. So any answer that I give is an answer that gets fed back into the knowledge base, but the product always changes. The company changes, pricing changes, features change, etc. And so I need to supervise that. And so the beautiful part of it is that I, as the single person in charge of all that happens at Glitter AI, I know what changes have happened to the product, and I can tell it what has changed, and then that becomes part of the knowledge base. But the quick answer to your question is no, because the AI is unaware, maybe in a different world where it's also looking at which feature requests I released into the product itself, it can self-modify, but that's overkill, I think. It's very quick to respond to customers this way, and I also get to interact with them as a human being, which is, to me, extremely important as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Maybe one more question if anybody has it, and then I can move on to the last part of the talk. All right. Well, let's move on to how you can actually create, how you can teach AI how to replace the boring parts of your job. And this is something that you can do today. It doesn't require any technical skill, and it's very easy. And it's something called Claude Agent Skills. And so let me go ahead and share my screen here. Just a moment. Okay. Can you see my screen? All right. Fantastic. Folks, this is only going to take a few minutes, and then we'll have time to review anything or go through any other questions, or we can finish early. And so, Claude Agent Skills. So just this is brand new, like 5 days ago. Anthropic, the company behind Claude, I'm sure you're familiar with different AI tools like ChatGPT. OpenAI makes ChatGPT. Anthropic makes Claude, and Anthropic just released something called Agent Skills. So basically, Agent Skills, to really simplify, is a way to teach AI to perform specific tasks without having to rewrite a prompt every time. So if you've interacted with ChatGPT or with Claude before, you will have noticed that every single conversation that you have with it, you have to kind of reteach it what you want to do. You got to give it new context on how to get a certain task done. And so this is now changing with agent skills. And so it's a way to, and I provided us a Wix specific example. It's a way to, let's say you were doing a QBR and you want to show a partner or a channel partner what the numbers were for the past quarter. You want to turn a CSV into, let's say, a slideshow, but you always want it to be branded with a Wix logo. And you want it to have the metrics from the CSV that you throw into it, and you want it to use the Wix brand colors, but you don't want to provide the Wix logo and the brand colors and all these things every single time and teach it how to do something. This is just an example. You can teach it anything that you know how to do. If you want to do all of that with a single prompt, how do you do that without providing that information over and over again? So ideally, our prompt should just be create one slide for the revenue performance from the CSV for Wix and use the Wix brand guidelines, and it should just know what that is, and it should just be able to carry out any task that you have. And so behind the scenes, what Claude skills are a set of documents and some coding scripts. Maybe you don't have to worry about that. And some images, maybe the Wix logo, maybe some fonts, etc., that tell AI how to do something. And then when you tell it, hey, use the Wix brand guidelines, it should just figure out what skills it should have. And so we can have a skills for creating PowerPoints, which is built into Claude, and we can have hi, I have a PowerPoint, and we can have a skill for that is aware of all of the Wix brand guidelines. And then it should just be able to take the CSV that you literally upload into Claude and turn it into something with a Wix logo and everything. So how does it work? Let's talk about really quick how to create skills. And so Claude displays to you all sorts of things that look very technical, but you don't need to be technical at all to create a skill and then to use it. So let's look at what it takes to create a skill where Claude would now know what the Wix brand guidelines look. You can create, by the way, a skill to teach it how to create full QBR slideshows out of CSV files or really anything. So what does that look like? First thing we need to do is enable skills. And so we're going to go down into the Claude menu settings, and we're going to go into capabilities. And we need to make sure that a couple of things are checked. One is we want the code execution file creation to be checked. And under skills, right there, since we're going to be teaching it a skill, we want the skill creation skill to be enabled. I know it's very meta, but you just need to have that checked. Let me see if I can move the Zoom controls and hop back in there. There you go. And you just want to make sure this thing is checked where it says skill creator. So if you have that enabled, now you can go into creating an actual skill. And here's how you teach Claude how to create a skill. So this you only do once. You only do once, and then you can use it forever. So you're going to go into, is this the right video? Let's see. Sorry. And I'm clicking the wrong thing. There we go. Now you can create the skills. So you're going to go into Claude itself, into the chat box and say, let's create a skill to teach you the Wix brand guidelines so that whenever I ask you to create any document, presentation, etc., use the correct logo, the font, the colors, etc. And so Claude is going to do some thinking, and it's going to use the skill creation skill. Don't worry about what that means. It's going to ask you some questions. And I'll fast forward and it will say, hey, I need from you, excuse me, keeps on skipping. What I need from you is I need you to upload sorry, I need you to upload the Wix fonts, the Wix colors, and I need you to upload the logo. And so you can go ahead and just drop that into the chat box. I grabbed it from a public page on Wix. It's just called Our Brand Guidelines. And I upload the Wix logo and I upload the font and everything else. And then Claude will do a bunch of thinking. It takes a few minutes. But then what you end up with is a little zip file that you can download. And so you can see here, I downloaded this zip file. So I just click on the download link. And so this is a folder that includes that skill. And now you go, it's kind of counterintuitive, but then you have to go back into settings and you install that skill. And I'll send you, by the way, a link to this presentation so you can follow along if you want. So go to capabilities and then under upload skill, I go ahead and I upload this zip file that was just given to me. And this is called Wix brand. And now it will always know how to use the Wix brand. All I have to do now is just say, use the Wix brand guidelines and it will know how to do it. It will have the logos built in, it will have everything. And you can do this for literally any part of your job. If you have specific customer communication, you want to work a certain way, you can teach it how to talk to customers. If you wanted to create a QBR slideshow based off of a CSV file you drop into it, you can do that. Literally anything that you do day to day in your job that's boring, you can teach Claude a new skill, how to do that, drop that zip file it creates for you into the skills folder and then just have it use it over and over and over again without having to reteach it or reprompt it anything. And again, I'll share all of this with you. So at the end of the day, when I say create one slide for the revenue performance, it goes ahead, does a bunch of thinking, and then it gives me the actual slide that you see on the right here. And you can download that, and now it's a PowerPoint. You could do that for every single metric on there and have it created the exact same way. And so this is now we really are at the end of the talk. If anybody has any questions whatsoever, I'm really happy to go through it. We covered what is agentic AI in general, or one definition of it, and how agents work, and also how you can use a specific subset of that to teach AI how to do parts of your job that you find boring or you want to automate. Hopefully this was helpful. By the way, I'm available on LinkedIn if anybody wants to add me on Yuval Karmi, or you can scan this QR code.